All right, hello, and welcome back to Orca. I am Anti, and I'm joined today by the wonderful Darkbot.
What a pleasure it is to be here, and hello everybody at Orca. A first time here and a first time with Anti. I cannot wait to get into these games. How are you doing today, Anti, with watching the game so far?
Yeah, I mean, I've been having a good time. It's not as good of a time as it seems Waki was having. Sped run that last game.
Every button seemed a good button.
Yeah, unfortunate for ICK, but Waki just really needed to see that Game 5 series. But either way, on the side of winners, it does seem that Burnign and SNC are having the time of their lives right now, able to find themselves in winners finals of Orca Qualifier number 5. And
indeed,
I mean, yeah, both of these players, incredibly storied players, right? Burnign, someone who has essentially helped put Malo on the map, right? And SNC, as we all know and love, just are, how do you call it? I guess the best way to explain SNC is our frame data overlord.
Yeah. Our mastermind matrix knowledge database, yeah, but also an amazing player. I only started playing with him recently and experienced just a whole different side to controlling the game and pacing it and making sure that you're actually timing it the way you want to, and it's an amazing thing to see, and I'm so glad that SNC did join back, that I could actually taste that side of the game that wasn't really on the scene for me so far, perhaps just because I was in the amateur bracket more. So yeah, it'll be really exciting to see how he deals with Burnign's tricks, traps, and bombs, really.
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest advantages that Burnign has as a player is man knows more about Malo than almost anyone on the planet. Of the people who might be able to figure out all the crazy Malo tech, SNC's probably taken some time to take a look into these. But either way, going to be starting things off on Tower of Heaven. A very neutral stage for both of these characters. It's really just a matter of how it is that they choose to play things out. But either way, SNC already getting into the swing of things, ready to parry, ready to rock and roll.
Oh, indeed. And it's definitely this stage is down to when and where you can manage to land those strong hits with the finisher bombs, or just almost anything that Crag can hit you with, fairs and whatnot. So we'll have to see how the neutral plays out. Clearly, at the moment, it seems like all projectiles are being fired, but nothing's quite sticking.
I mean, honestly, sometimes you do just have to keep on firing off as many projectiles as you can, because the moment you hit one, it could be the end. And the aptly named finisher just doing so much damage to SNC here, but still not able to take a full stock. Both of these players just continually battering away at one another, just bombing at one another, just throwing so many projectiles back and forth. The super army coming through for SNC here, but not going to be able to get control of the match just yet.
No, indeed. Actually, just then I noticed an interaction that could have happened, and I imagine that these two players would have been able to answer it immediately, but I wouldn't have a clue. I saw the finishing bomb going down next to the column, with Crag down hugging the wall. Would the explosion of the finisher bomb actually break the column?
From what I understand, it shouldn't break it if it's on top of the finisher, but if it's next to it, SNC's in deep trouble, just as he is right now. And trying to get right off the wall, you can see SNC holding onto this stock, but not for very much longer. Burnign able to seal out stock number 1, but at 143, you can see just how much these two players have been trading back and forth.
Oh my goodness. Indeed. I've noticed as well that Burnign's game has also started being much more powerful at finishing stocks with the regular bombs at the moment. The precision has just gone through the roof, and we saw it just happen earlier as well in the previous games.
Yeah, I mean, the finisher bomb, a lot more dangerous this time around, but instead, things like the up air buff, things like the cherry bombs, there's so many ways how to confirm things, but SNC does not care what Malo is doing, simply cares to take Malo into the blast zone on repeat.
Indeed. I mean, Crag is one of the few characters that can even ignore the bombs at some point with the side special. So, yeah. Amazing stuff happening here on screen.
Oh, DI's in, but beautiful drift from SNC to avoid the fair directly off of that here. Trying to survive just a little bit longer and get as much extra credit as possible on this stock. And with 82% on Malo and climbing, man might as well just skip the assignment entirely, because this is enough extra credit to net an entire full stock.
Oh, definitely. We can see it's just slowly, he has to get this stock now, and it is possible to actually get a very quick stock, but I doubt SNC will ever let Burnign get there that far. Let's have a look at what happened.
Yeah, it's an interesting distinction here. You can see, once again, SNC just playing it slow, calm, and consistently, right? You know, there's times earlier where SNC could have gone for an up air or, you know, a forward air that might have killed, but instead just opts for guaranteed damage, just opts for a back air, keeping Burnign in disadvantage, trying to rack up as much damage as possible so that way the moment he does get a guaranteed kill opportunity, it's there, it's over, and Game 1 is firmly in SNC's hands. Game number 2 on Treetop Lodge, on the other hand, should provide a lot more verticality for Burnign and a lot more space off stage to mix up these recoveries.
And I was hearing that, actually, one of the things that I haven't got enough knowledge and experience in, because I've only paid attention to sort of the neutral of the game, it was hearing the other commentators, including Hamman, saying that this is one of the top stage picks for Crag players. But I wonder how it compares in your opinion. How does it compare for Malo versus Crag? Ooh,
yeah, I mean, as far as SNC is concerned, it works out just fine. And this is a stage that very, very much benefits players who are going to be playing vertically, right? You know, if you're playing around Pillar, if you're playing around, you know, Rock, if you're playing around, you know, dropping the bombs from above, this stage has so much value, and you can see it coming in dividends for both of these players right now. So, you know, there's a lot to be gained from either side. It's just a matter of who's utilizing it more, and SNC taking the next stock of the game, but not in the way how you might have expected it.
Yeah, he scored an own goal there. But I imagine it's just one of those. This game appears to be one that will slowly burn through all your brain juices, because there's so much that you have to keep taking into account at any moment, not only platform's height, but where everything is on the screen. I mean, I'm just always surprised that someone can keep as composed as SNC is doing right now.
Yeah, I mean, right now, Burnign just trying to find an opportunity to air dodge back onto stage, and there it is, finally, but going to push a little too hard, a little too far, and SNC's gonna take that one straight to the... Only 32% on the Crag is essentially just a gust of fresh air, right? You know, and there's nothing to worry about.
No, definitely not. Everything's being evened out, and in fact, sometimes I feel that right now SNC is back into the in charge, essentially.
Oh my god!
Goodness, I did not expect that one. What a finisher by SNC! And as you're saying, sometimes you feel like when you're playing against SNC, the fact that you're expecting a move to come out, but instead he pulls back, actually draws you into this sense that you can throw out, you can feel safe advancing, and the moment that you get snapped up.
Yeah, I mean, SNC, beautiful play there. Gonna be moving on to Fire Capital for game number 3 here. And I just love how, you know, SNC really goes for these guaranteed kills, but every once in a while, you know, just throws out something where it's like, hey, I just noticed that you were DIing it incorrectly. You know, I'm going to just absolutely take you straight to the bank for this one. And just like that, Burnign now on the back foot on another counter pick here, trying to find some way how to deal with SNC's Crag.
Very much so, and I don't know if the big stage is actually going. It feels like the idea here is as many hazards on the stage as possible, but I'm noticing little by little that even Crag's rock does take priority over any of the projectiles that Burnign can throw out. So the control is a little is limited unless they chain together and create a combo of their own. Remote
I mean,
kills.
honestly, I like this stage pick from Burnign because the interesting thing about Burnign's Malo in this set so far is that Burnign has struggled to find kills onto SNC regardless of the stage, right? You know, we saw on a stage with very close side blast zones like Tower of Heaven, a stage with very far blast zones like Treetop, and in both of them, SNC was dying at around the same percents. So right now, Burnign, by going over to Fire Capital, just is able to survive for as long as possible, make use of these huge blast zones. In the meantime, can try to rack up as much damage as possible. You know, SNC understands the game plan and going to try to deny it as much as possible.
And then there's always that random finisher bomb that makes it through the cracks and deals massive damage. And in fact, this is a terrible situation. Having that, either having the finisher bomb stuck in your hand while being comboed or a rock is a terrible situation for either characters. And we can see that there's been some capitalization by both of them the minute they found that opening. But at the end, right now, it's still back to neutral. So we're going to have to see what the moves are. And it's still... Even though he's racking up the damage and there's one stock down for SNC, the gameplay plan and the game plan by SNC doesn't seem any more chaotic or any more. Keep it simple, keep it calm, and it will come. But unless Burnign has anything else to say about that.
As can they continue to rack up so much damage, SNC at 100%, and you know, this is the situation that SNC found himself in game number 1, and now Burnign gonna be going down, final stock here, one more chance for SNC, but at 103%, this could spell disaster. You know, Burnign's usually getting these kills around 160, and only 40% separates SNC from that blast zone, so he's got to be careful.
Indeed. But right now, just playing around the rock, playing around any option that he has, and actually getting some very key parries coming in is what is going to help SNC actually catch up that percent. Right now, it seems actually even at this point. Anyone can take it with a good, strong hit.
Yeah, but right now, Burnign still looking for an opportunity. 149 on SNC. Here it is. Closer and closer to 160, and like I said, there it is. No, falls out of the upstrong.
That rapid
there we go. Falls out of the upstrong, but also falls out of the stage, and the blast zone so close. SNC gonna be dropping out of that one. But game number 4 to Merchant Port, much closer blast zones in comparison to Fire Capital, but you know, when you're comparing it to some of the biggest blast zones in the entire game, you know, there's only so far.
Yeah, there's only so far you can go. And we're gonna have to see who takes the lead here. Is probably gonna hold it for the entirety of the game, especially if it is SNC. I feel Burnign will be in big trouble here, and playing keep outs is one of SNC's specialities. But you know, we'll have to see if Burnign is able to also stall in his own favor times. There we go.
And right now, I mean, as you said, right, the player who has the early lead should be able to hold on to it, and SNC's gonna take that with a vengeance. Only 29% on the Crag, and looking to rack up as much extra credit as possible here. You know, just jumping straight past Burnign, keeping him in the combo, making sure that that finisher that got pulled early is going to be doing so much damage to the Mothman.
I mean, that was a trade that SNC would have taken any day. Like, the damage that it would have racked up on himself would have been considerably less dangerous than anything added onto Burnign at this stage. One stock down, and almost a whole the percent being in negative as well.
And you can see right now, you know, SNC just trying and succeeding once again at taking yet another stock. And here we go. Burnign, if you're going to bring this back, now is when you have to show us a miracle. You know, digging deep, pulling the finisher out of the back pocket, and putting SNC into the blast zone, and there's one stock down, 2 stocks to go. Burnign trying to figure out a way how to sneak onto this stage. Beautiful tech, but SNC ready for it. Now with a wall in the way, with a rock in the way, with a nair in the way, SNC is looking to wall Burnign out of Winner's Side Grand Finals. And there it is!
God.
With
SNC.
another down tilt up strong. SNC punches a ticket into Winner's Side Grands with the impeccable crag play.
Oh my goodness, definitely. That play was beautiful. I mean, SNC just... He was picking on those particular timings when the bombs were coming out and really hitting those combos there, which is one of the 2 vulnerabilities I find with Molo. Either when the bombs are being thrown at you or when the bombs are being drawn and held, Molo is the most vulnerable. And SNC capitalized on it, played keep outs, and just didn't let Burnign back on the stage at all unless he paid the heavy toll of most of his % for the stock. It was beautifully done.
Yeah, incredible stuff for SNC, but Burnign gonna be dropping down to losers. And we saw in that game number 3, right? This Molo is no slouch, so that is a terrifying beast to have to face in loser side.
Oh, definitely. And we didn't even get to see the close range Molo play. I imagine because of the zoning the SNC did, but Burnign is no slouch when at close quarters either. So we'll have to see if that comes out in the games that are to follow.